Hello everyone. So in this lecture we will be discussing about dynamic programming or DP. So this would be an introductory lesson to DP and we will see that what kind of problems can be optimized with the help of DP and how do we actually apply DP on these kind of problems. So before starting with the introduction, I think it would be better for us to directly go on to the example and then we will look out that what actually is DP and what kind of problems do we solve with the help of DP, then how to know that is a problem given to us whether it can be optimized with the help of DP or not, and at last we will say that we will see it how to solve that problem with the help of dynamic programming. So in this lecture we will be discussing about one of the most famous problems to start, and that would be our Fibonacci series. So now we would be directly jumping onto our recursive tree. Now coming on to our recursive tree, what do we see over here? That this is our Fibonacci series, and what does this series state? That the third number starting from this number itself, that we would be having this as a sum of previous two numbers. So we can see over here this the element present at index 2 or our second Fibonacci number is actually a sum of the numbers present at 0 and 1. The same way what's over here 2, and this is a sum of this 1 and 1. Then this 3 is a sum of this 1 and 2, this 5 is sum of 3 and 2, and so on. So this is our Fibonacci series. Now the question is that suppose you are given a number, say 10th, and you need to tell that what is the 10th Fibonacci number, or what is the number which comes at 10th position at the Fibonacci series. And again 10th position I mean to say the index 10, and we do start with 0 over here. So 0 first 2, 3, 4. So the 10th Fibonacci number over here would be 55. Now what do we see over here? This is the function which will be returning us our nth Fibonacci number. So in our case n is equal to 10. So what would we be recursing for? Again, what was this? This 55 is a sum of 34 and 21. And what is this 34? 34 is our 9th Fibonacci number, and 21 is our 8th Fibonacci number. So can I recurse for Fibonacci 9 and Fibonacci 8, and the sum of those two recursive solutions would be the answer to my Fibonacci 10. So the same thing I do over here. What do I recurse for? I branch out, and what I branch out for? I branch out for calculating the 9th Fibonacci number and the 8th Fibonacci number. So what does this subproblem say? This subproblem says just tell me what is the value of my 9th Fibonacci number. And what does this subproblem say? This subproblem says just tell me what is the value of my 8th Fibonacci number. The same way, how do I find this 9th Fibonacci number? The 9th Fibonacci number I find out by taking the sum of 8th Fibonacci number and 7th Fibonacci number. That's what I do over here. That just tell me what is the value of 8th Fibonacci and what is the value of 7th Fibonacci. Again, we would be recursing, and recursion always go depth first way. So it will just go for Fibonacci 9, Fibonacci 8, then Fibonacci 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And what would be our base case in here? Because if we just don't put a base case in here, then it would be an infinite recursion. So for stopping that infinite recursion, we need to have some kind of base case, and that base case would be that whenever I reach in the calculation or in the recursive call that I need to calculate my Fibonacci first or Fibonacci 0th, so that would be my base case. Because how do I calculate Fibonacci 1? Again, that's a base case over here. With the help of these two base cases, I started my whole Fibonacci series. So my Fibonacci 1 would be set as 1 and Fibonacci 0 would be set as 0. So I couldn't make the whole recursive tree for Fibonacci 10, but I did make a recursive tree for Fibonacci 5 over here. So we can see how does our recursion go on. Now whenever I reach this Fibonacci 5, what would I be doing? I am just telling that just tell me what is the value of Fibonacci 5, or what is the value of 5th Fibonacci number. So how do I say what is the value of 5th Fibonacci number? I can see over here it's 5, but how did this 5 come over here? By adding up two numbers. And what were those? The numbers present at Fibonacci 4 and the number present at Fibonacci 3. That's what I would be recursing, and then I would be adding them up. So what does this subproblem say? This subproblem says just tell me what is my 4th Fibonacci number. And what does this subproblem say? This subproblem says just tell me what is my 3rd Fibonacci number. So how do I calculate my 4th Fibonacci number? Again, by adding up Fibonacci numbers present at 3 and 2. And how do I calculate my 3? Again my calculating 2 and 1, and how do I calculate 2? Again I calculating 1 and 0, and how do I calculate 1 and 0? I do not calculate them. These are my base cases over here. So what would I be doing in code is, this is the code for recursive implementation. What do I see over here? This would be my 5 over here, n is equal to 5. So I would be recursing for this n minus 1 and n minus 2. In my case it would be 4 and 3. As soon as I reach 4 and 3, then I would be calling for 4, then it would be 3 and 2, then it would be 2 and 1, then it would be 1 and 0. As soon as I reach 1 and 0, so I need to have some base case. And why are we having this base case? To stop infinite recursion, or else we cannot stop it. We need to have some kind of base case, or else it will lead to infinite recursion, and at the end it would be having segmentation fault whenever we go out of stack in our process. So what do we see over here? These are our base cases. N equals to 0 or n equals to 1. So what would I be returning over here? I will be returning n over here. So if I reach my base case of Fibonacci 1, so I will be returning n, and what would be the value of n at that point? It would be 1. So I returned 1 from this Fibonacci 1. And what would I be returning from this Fibonacci 0? That would be, I would be returning 0. So I will be adding them up for getting an answer to Fibonacci 2. So I will be returning 1 plus 0, that's 1. So the answer to Fibonacci 2 is 1. And what does that one signifies? That one signifies that the second number in my Fibonacci series is 1. So the second number in my Fibonacci series is 1. So again, what would I be adding to it to get an answer to Fibonacci 3? I would be adding a Fibonacci 1 number over here. And what is the answer to Fibonacci 1? It's again a base case. I would be returning 1 again. So answer to this was 2. Answer to this is 1. Sorry, answer to this was 1. Answer to this is 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So what's my answer to Fibonacci 3? It's 2 again. So what does that 2 signify? That 2 signifies that the answer to my Fibonacci 3 is 2. And that 2 is present as the third Fibonacci number in the Fibonacci series. So if we have a look over here, what is the third number present in our Fibonacci series? It's again 2. 0, 1, 2, 3. So what's the third number present in our Fibonacci? It's 2. And hence the 2 as a result of all these recursive calls signifies this thing. So same way we would be recursing for all these subproblems, and then we will be having an answer to Fibonacci 5. Now, what do we see over here? Now we need to see that whether can we apply DP to it or not. Again, we have an exponential runtime, we see over there. We have a recurrence relation over there. Yes, we have a recurrence relation. And what is my recurrence relation? That the answer to my nth Fibonacci number is the answer to n minus 1 plus the answer to n minus 2. I do have a recurrence relation. Do I have base cases? Yes, I do have my base cases, because whenever I would be recursing for something, I need to have some base case to stop the infinite recursion or to stop the segmentation fault. So we see that optimization can be done over here. But how do we do that optimization? So we need to see two things. Why did we have exponential runtime over here? And what are we doing extra such that we can just stop it from happening so that we can optimize it with the help of DP? Can we see all these recursive calls? Fibonacci 3, then again Fibonacci 2, then Fibonacci 1, then again these Fibonacci 2. Why are we even recomputing all these again and again? Because the answer to this Fibonacci 2 would be same as this Fibonacci 2. And the answer to this Fibonacci 1 in any case, in any of the recursive call would be always be same. So can't I just pre-compute the answers to all these recursive calls and store them somewhere such that whenever I reach these recursive calls again, I can just make use of all the pre-computed values instead of recursing again and again? Because in this case I am recursing again and again. So I need to stop this again and again recursive calls. So what do? I just store the values of all these overlapping subproblems, and the jargon which we say to it, or these subproblems are called overlapping subproblems, because these subproblems overlap. This Fibonacci 2 and Fibonacci 1 are overlapping between Fibonacci 3 and Fibonacci 4, and hence these are our overlapping subproblems. So we can see, yes, this is the point where we need to optimize, because this is the extra work we are doing in this recursive algorithm. So what do we see? We do have overlapping subproblems, and this is one of the most important property to have in a recursive solution, such that we can apply DP on it. Again, for applying dynamic programming on any recursive algorithm, we need to have two things. Those two things are overlapping subproblems, which we currently discussed, and second thing is optimal substructure. And what does this optimal substructure mean? Look, how did we solve this Fibonacci 5? We solved it with the help of two subproblems. And what were those subproblems? Fibonacci 4 and Fibonacci 3. And how did we solve Fibonacci 4? With the help of two more subproblems, Fibonacci 3 and Fibonacci 2. The same way, how did we solve Fibonacci 3? We solved it with the help of Fibonacci 2 and Fibonacci 1. And how did we solve Fibonacci 2? We solved it with the help of Fibonacci 1 and Fibonacci 0. And how did we solve Fibonacci and Fibonacci 0? We didn't solve them. These were our base cases. So we can clearly see that how can this Fibonacci 5 can be solved with the help of all these subproblems and all these base cases. So this property of solving a problem with the help of subproblems and base cases is known as optimal substructure. So what does actually optimal substructure states? Is it states that if the given problem can be solved by solving its subproblems, then the problem has an optimal substructure, and these subproblems can further be solved with the help of more smaller subproblems, which at the end lead to some base cases, and then the given problem has an optimal substructure. So earlier we saw that we have overlapping subproblems. Now we saw that we have optimal substructure. So we can say that yes, this recursive algorithm can be optimized with the help of dynamic programming. So in the next lecture, we will see that how to actually approach this optimization. We will be making use of two approaches. Either we can make use of a top-down approach or memoization approach, or we can take a bottom-up approach or tabulation approach.